6-2. This formation involves 6 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers, hence the name 6-2. There are also 3 defensive backs, either safeties or cornerbacks, for a total of 11 defensive players. The 6-2 is run defense at its most extreme. It works because these 6 linemen create gap control. They plug every hole between offensive linemen. These are called A gaps between center and guards, B gaps between guards and tackles, and C gaps outside the tackles. It's mathematically impossible for a running back to find space if the defensive linemen win their battles against the offensive line. But with only 3 defensive backs covering potentially 4 or 5 receivers, the offense will almost certainly have an uncovered receiver if they choose to pass. The corners are isolated on islands with no help over the top. A quick slant pass or any route over 10 yards becomes a likely completion. The Rams, under Sean McVay, use it in goal line situations, especially against run-heavy opponents like the 49ers. The Chargers use it too when they need to stop short yardage runs. These teams in particular like to use it because they have personnel advantages at the lineman position. The Rams have dominant interior linemen like Aaron Donald before retirement, and the Chargers have defensive line depth. You'll see it on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 goal line stands, or when the offense needs 2 yards or less and will almost certainly run. 5-3. This formation involves 5 linemen, 3 linebackers, and 3 defensive backs. There is 1 less lineman than the 6-2 formation, but 1 more linebacker. This extra linebacker provides slightly better pass coverage, while still maintaining solid run defense. The middle linebacker can drop into coverage on play-action passes and make tackles on outside runs. Play-action passes are when the quarterback fakes a handoff to trick linebackers into coming forward, but then drops back into the pocket to make a pass instead. The 3 defensive backs in this formation are a poor match if the offense has 4 or 5 receivers, because the 4th and 5th receivers will need to be covered by a linebacker. This is a disadvantage for the defense due to the elite speed and agility that most receivers have. Smart quarterbacks will recognize this mismatch pre-snap and exploit it by targeting these receivers. However, the extra linebacker gives the defense someone who can cover a tight end on short routes. Every NFL team has 5-3 in their goal line package. The Eagles and Steelers use it most frequently because they have elite middle linebackers. Nakobe Dean for the Eagles and Patrick Queen for the Steelers are excellent at reading plays quickly and providing that crucial pass coverage. 5-2 Eagle. This formation involves 5 linemen, 2 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs and is named after the 1950s Eagles who popularized it. This formation adds a 4th defensive back compared to 5-3, which means better pass coverage against receivers but less linebacker support. It's for situations where you expect a run but need to be ready for passes. While it sounds like the best of both worlds, those 5 linemen are focused on stopping runs, not rushing the passer. This means the quarterback will experience less pressure and have more time to read the defense and make a good decision. 4-4. This coverage involves 4 linemen, 4 linebackers, and 3 defensive backs. This creates an 8-man front, 8 linemen and linebackers near the line of scrimmage. The 4 linebackers spread out to control the edge, which is the outside areas beyond the offensive tackles. This stops sweep plays where runners try to get to the outside and prevents mobile quarterbacks from scrambling. This formation is effective against RPO or run-pass option plays. These are the plays where the quarterback reads defenders and chooses to either keep the ball, pitch it outside, or hand it off inside. In most defensive formations, one of these 3 options is usually uncovered because there are only 7 linebackers or linemen in the box. But with 8 men in the box, linebackers control every gap and edge, which means there's literally nowhere for the play to go. The drawback is that 3 defensive backs can't cover 4 or 5 receivers spread across the field. SEC college teams like Alabama and Georgia use it against option teams. In the NFL, the Titans occasionally use it against mobile quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. Why? These teams have the personnel, fast outside linebackers who can chase down plays to the edge. 3-4. This formation involves 3 linemen, 4 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs. This is where football becomes psychological warfare. These 4 linebackers can do anything before the snap. The offense doesn't know which ones will rush the quarterback and which will drop into coverage. This creates what coaches call multiplicity, meaning the same formation can execute completely different plays. It works because the nose tackle, who is the center lineman on the defensive line, occupies the center and often draws double team blocks, freeing up linebackers. Meanwhile, the outside linebackers can come from unexpected angles that offensive lines struggle to pick up. The Steelers are the gold standard of the 3-4 defense. They have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith as outside linebackers who can both rush and cover. The Patriots, under Bill Belichick, used it because they had versatile linebackers. The Packers used it with Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. It's especially effective with teams that have a dominant nose tackle who can handle double teams, and athletic outside linebackers who can do multiple jobs. 4-3. This formation involves 4 linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs and is called base defense for a reason. The 4 linemen provide consistent pass rush, while 3 linebackers can handle running plays or pass coverage. The 4 defensive backs match most normal passing formations. The 49ers built their defense around it because they have elite edge rushers like Nick Bosa and previously Leonard Floyd. The Panthers employ it as their base. Why? These teams have the ideal personnel. Elite edge rushers who can win one-on-one against offensive linemen and linebackers who can cover tight ends. The weakness is when offenses use what's called 11 personnel, which involves 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 running back. In this offensive personnel package, there is a slot receiver on the weak side of the field, which is the opposite side of the field that the tight end lines up on, and inside the outermost receiver. The weak side linebacker often must cover the slot receiver, which is a difficult task because receivers tend to have more speed and can get separation more easily. This is the reason a lot of teams use what's called nickel coverage, which we'll get to in a moment. 46 Bear. This formation involves 5 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 1 safety, and 2 cornerbacks and is named after the Bears safety Doug Plank's jersey, number 46. 3 linemen line up directly over the center and both guards. This is called the bear front. It creates immediate pressure up the middle while the other 2 linemen rush from the edges. The linebackers crowd the line of scrimmage, making it look like 8 guys are coming. This formation was highly effective in the 80s because quarterbacks of that era operated primarily from under center with slower developing plays. The 46 Bear created instant pressure before those plays could develop. The single safety would often blitz, bringing 6 or 7 rushers that offensive lines couldn't handle. Modern defenses don't use it much because a quick 3-step passing game with a bubble screen would likely convert for huge yards. With only 2 cornerbacks, 1 safety, and linebackers on the line of scrimmage sending pressure, any offense with 4 receivers would have at least 1 player running free, with other quick pass options available with big play potential. The 1985 Bears made it famous, but the Ravens under Rex Ryan occasionally brought it back for specific situations. The Jets also used it when Ryan was their coordinator. Nickel. This formation involves 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. The 5th defensive back is called the nickel corner. Nickel as in 5 cents, as in 5 defensive backs. The nickel corner is a defensive back who specializes in covering the slot receiver. That's the receiver that lines up inside the outermost receiver when the offense uses 3 or more receivers. Nickel corners are typically shorter and quicker than outside cornerbacks because they need to handle more underneath routes like quick slants and have less deep help. Modern NFL offenses use 3 or more receivers on 65% of their plays. With traditional 4-3 or 3-4 defenses, that inside receiver is covered by a linebacker. Like we learned before, this is a poor matchup for defenses because linebackers run 4.7-second 40s while slot receivers run 4.4. The math doesn't add up in the defense's favor. That nickel corner will sometimes jam the slot receiver at the line of scrimmage, disrupting timing or play robber coverage. This is where they sit in passing lanes, waiting to intercept balls thrown to predictable routes. The Cowboys have one of the best nickel corners in Trevon Diggs, who you'll often see playing robber coverage that leads to game-breaking picks. And the Bills use it as their base defense because they have great depth at defensive back. For teams with less depth at defensive back, an injury might require them to adjust a game plan that involved a lot of nickel coverage. These teams have a nickel advantage because they've invested in 5 or more quality defensive backs, which most teams don't have. However, with only 2 linebackers, inside running plays can break big if the offensive linemen win their blocks and allow the running back to get into the secondary. Due to their smaller size, nickel corners usually aren't great tacklers against 220-pound running backs. Dime. This formation involves 4 linemen, 1 linebacker, and 6 defensive backs. That 6th DB is usually an extra safety. It's called dime because the defense is adding a second nickel back, and 2 nickels equals a dime. The extra personnel in the secondary means it's effective for third and long situations, 12-plus yards, 2-minute drills, or when the offense shows 4-plus receivers. You're basically saying, we know you're throwing, and we're going to blanket every receiver. Dime formations often use cover 2 or cover 3, which means 2 or 3 deep safeties protect against long touchdowns, while the remaining defensive backs play underneath pass coverage, taking away shorter routes. The lone linebacker typically has one job: cover the running back or tight end on short routes. They're not rushing the passer because you need every available defender in coverage. This means that running plays are especially effective against dime formations because there are fewer defenders near the line of scrimmage. However, defenses are happy to allow run plays in situations where the offense needs to score quickly. Run plays will eat the clock. The Chiefs employ it in crucial third down situations because they have Chris Jones generating pressure with just 4 rushers. The Bengals use it to protect leads. The Bills bring it out in playoff situations. These teams have defensive lines that can generate pressure without blitzing, allowing them to drop 7 defenders into coverage. That's football strategy in a nutshell. And now you understand the language. What formation do you think gives offenses the most trouble in today's NFL? Let me know in the comments, and if this helped you understand defense better, smash that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns that'll change how you watch the game.